Hey, it's me, Kayla, with another stupid video idea. I've been really getting back into Geoguessr lately. Not playing, actually, watching other people play Geoguessr. I haven't opened the website. I haven't paid, because you have to pay for it now, in over a year, I would say. It's this game where you get dropped in a location somewhere in the world and you have to guess on Google Maps where it is. The website's really cool. There's a bunch of different maps. You can make your own maps. I've made one before where you have to guess like what bookstore you're in all around the world. And so there are these different maps, and one of them is of where I live, the Okanagan Valley in British Columbia, Canada. And let me search, from top to bottom, it's like 220 kilometers or 3 hours of driving. So that's the kind of size that we're talking about. And the map basically can drop me anywhere in here. There are 2,000 different locations in all of these different cities. Outside of the cities, I could be dropped in the middle of nowhere. And I figured, let me play it, and every time I get dropped in a location, not only do I have to figure out where I am, because that's how the game works, but then I have to go there and I have to find the closest book to where I am. So it could be like a little free library, it could be a real library, it could be a bookstore, it could be, I don't know, a book on the side of the road. Like, I just have to go find a book in all of these 5 locations. Stupid, right? Well, that's what we're gonna do today. I have played this map live with my channel members before when I was desperately trying to get a perfect score, which I finally did, and now I have the 7th highest score on this map with only, 500 plays on it, but still. Today we're not trying to get a perfect score. Today I'm literally gonna play this one time. Unless all of the locations are somehow in the exact same city, as long as I'm popping up in different places, this is what we're gonna go with. The very first game that I play. Let's begin. Okay, there are mailboxes, so we know there are houses nearby. I'm just gonna take a look around. This already kind of looks familiar to me. The road is called Farmers Drive. Okay, we've got a fire warning, so we know what time of year this photo was taken. See in the distance there, that's Little White. Let's find Big White. Big White is a ski hill just outside of Kelowna. Little White's right next to it. If we're facing south, then we're gonna be north of there. It's hard to tell distance, but I wanna say like we're kind of near the airport. It could be any of these roads. I'm not trying to get a perfect score, so I think this is probably the road that we're on. I could probably find like the exact sign and stuff, but we're just gonna guess. Okay, very close. 4,000. The top score you can get for each round is 5,000. We are right behind the airport. This is a place that I take you guys on my little waterfall hikes sometimes. So I'll see you out there. I'm at Farmers Drive. The way I was driving up here, and I was like, oh my God, it's like Geoguessr in real life. No, Kayla. It's just called driving. The way this isn't even the stupidest thing I've done for this YouTube channel. I need to get out of here. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Like, genuinely, there's nothing around here, but I needed to get my shot. I got the shot. I'm right next to those mailboxes that we saw. Unless I break into one of them and hope that someone has a book. We're definitely not finding a book in this area. And I checked the free little library app. There's none around here. There's one near the airport, but the airport is closer to me. That's the only business. Like, if I zoom out, that's the only thing that's around here. I started this idea being like, oh, I'm gonna go to all of these unique free little libraries and bookstores. No, I'm gonna go to the airport. Not only am I gonna go to the airport, but I'm gonna have to pay to park at the airport to go inside and hope that they have a little shop, like where you can buy drinks and magazines. I know that those exist once you get through security, but I'm not sure if at our airport there's a store before security. Hope that there is, so I'm not doing this for nothing. Just a hop, skip, and a jump, and I'm at the airport. It feels illegal to be here without a ticket. It was only a 5-minute drive here. It was mostly farmland. I did stop somewhere cute, get some farm fresh eggs. I couldn't park at the airport because apparently the lot was full, but I see people driving in there, so maybe I got scammed. Or wait, maybe they put that sign in the middle of the road when the lot is full, so you can't drive past it. Classic airport mistake. Am I a departure or an arrival? What do you think? Okay, there was a gift shop right inside the airport doors. It was very small, and there was somebody watching me the entire time. So definitely couldn't vlog in there, but I saw a lot of familiar books. There was thrillers and romance. This edition of the Pumpkin Spice Cafe is so cute. I almost bought it, but I did resist because I already read it and gave it 4 stars last year. It's probably the year before. What I ended up with is what I think is the epitome of an airport gift shop book. It's just a silly thriller. Could I have gotten this from the library for free? Definitely. But instead, I paid $29 for it at my local airport. This is Close Your Eyes and Count to 10 by Lisa Unger. I don't think I've read anything from her before, but I've definitely heard her name. I think she gets like kind of low-ish ratings, but this one says it's an extreme game of hide and seek. Doesn't that sound like it's just for me? I'll let you know at like the halfway point how it's going. The thing about purchasing a book from an airport gift shop is that that book doesn't necessarily have to be good. Like, as the person who is choosing the books for that gift shop, you're not necessarily trying to appeal to like return customers. It's just about keeping them entertained while they're waiting for their plane. And that's, sorry, exactly what this is doing. I have made it through part 1, almost halfway, and I am definitely entertained. We're following this middle-aged woman named Adele. She has 2 kids. Her husband recently left her. He committed some type of fraud and he's in trouble. She desperately needs money and needs to prove to herself and her kids that she is capable of taking care of everybody. She has recently become a fitness influencer, and there's this extreme hide and seek reality show that's broadcast live, so people can like be texting her and commenting on everything that's happening in the challenge while it's actually going on. There's a couple little mysteries that we're following, one regarding what was happening with her husband, and one which is a previous season of the show. Somebody went missing and is still currently missing. But the thing is, we're not just following Adele, we're following like the production team of the show, the people who are putting it on, and the relationships between everybody who is actively filming and producing the show. But we're not just following them, we're also following her children. They get their own chapters, and I could see why this would have a low average rating if you think it's just going to be about the competition, and then it turns out to be all of these like interpersonal relationship drama chapters from various other people. But it's funny because this was almost a literally did book club pick. I was considering it because I love a game. I love a competition thing. In fact, I am going to continue with this bingo thing that I made last year, and I want to fill it out by the end of the year. So if you see this pop up in videos and vlogs throughout the rest of the year, just know that it's because I'm trying to fill it all out. And this one obviously fits for the games and competition thing. It's just a list of things that I love. I was going to do some dedicated vlogs, but I decided to just pop this in whenever something fits, and this one fits. I almost picked it for the Literally Did Book Club, but it got so many negative reviews so early upon its release that I just like abandoned it. But at this point, I'm having a good time. I feel like this could be an easy 4-star. Definitely good airport read. We're popping between different people all the time. Things are constantly moving, and I'm interested to know the answer to the mystery. I feel like I already know it, but I'm more hooked than I thought I would be based on the average rating. I have finished Close Your Eyes and Count to 10. I'm giving us a 3.75, I think. I could see a lot of people getting bored by this, especially the second half. It reminds me of books that I've read like Security or Reprieve, where there is something where there's mounting tension and there are stakes, but it also really lacks urgency as far as what you might go into it expecting, because you're following all of these like mundane things happening amongst a large group of people. I found it not surprising at all, but entertaining. I was into it. The concept of the hide and seek game, I don't know if it makes the most sense as a reality show from someone who's been reading a lot of reality show books lately, and I just did a whole video on it. I don't know if this makes sense outside of the book world, like just being a show that people were gonna tune into. It's just people hiding. I imagine it would be a little bit boring to watch, but I did like this better than Hide, which is a similar concept from Kirsten White, but not similar in where the storyline goes or what the plot actually turns out to be. There were definitely some cheesy life lessons in here, some characters who were a little obnoxious. There was some discussions of the impacts of social media and like living life for an audience. And then also plenty explored with dynamics of especially parent-child toxic relationships. There was good stuff in here. It could have been tightened up. I don't know if everyone will love all the different directions that we're following, but I had a good time. And that is it for me today. My first location and my first book. All right, me again, back in time. Let's do round 2. Okay, we are on a beach. Yay, I get to take you to the beach. How fun. Okay, this does not look instantly recognizable to me. Those mountains kind of look like Knox Mountain, which is like downtown Kelowna-ish, but that wouldn't make sense because that is not what the beach looks like in that part of town. If we look west, we know we're facing the water. So that could be any of the lakes, like Okanagan Lake takes up the entire Okanagan Valley. So anywhere on the lake, you're gonna look west and see the lake. If you're on the east side of the lake, Brookvale Holiday Resort Inc. See, I've never heard of that. I think we're gonna be down, this could be Skaha Lake. None of these signs are giving me any information for what the beaches are called. With how unfamiliar this looks, I just don't feel like this is Okanagan Lake. But maybe this is like just a part of Naramata that I haven't looked at. No, I don't know. Well, I'm so excited we're gonna get to go hang out on this beach together. I mean, it is fall, but Oasis RV Resort. I'm just gonna say Skaha because I haven't been there in a long time. But if it's just the bottom of Okanagan Lake and I'm wrong, I'm just gonna look stupid. Oh my God. Okay. It's a Soyuz. It's right on the border. I was thinking I was looking at the bottom of the lake, and so I wasn't even considering that because that one stretches into the States. But now it seems so obvious. Okay, I guess I'll see you in a Soyuz. Now you might be thinking, this does not exactly look like where I got dropped in Geoguessr. And that's because you can't park the entire 3-kilometer length of road that we just drove down. So I'm starting here. This is the same lake. It's the same lake shore that you saw in the round. But now we just have to walk. I don't know how far until we find civilization. And by that I mean books. I wish I brought my umbrella and I wish we were having a beach day.
But it's what, 11, 12 degrees and raining and windy.
It's been sunny all week, so this is my bad for coming on this day.
Only the library was open.
Let's go. I tried to go to the library, but it closed and we drove 2 hours and the library closed 2 hours ago. Who's shooting at me? They are serious about their private parking. Oh, this is the sign I saw. Wait, this is where I started. This whole road, there's signs everywhere you can't park. But this is where I was dropped. Because I remember the Brookvale Holiday Resort sign. Do you think they have books in the office?
They do have maps of their place.
Well, you can't say I didn't try. I was gonna walk in here and find a book. Oh no, they lost their sign. Let me know if you would consider this an option, because I didn't make any rules. So do I have to get the first book I see that I can physically purchase or get? Or if I see someone reading a book, can I say that's the first book that I saw? And then I just have to go buy it or steal it from them?
These are hookups, so you can park your RV right here.
People camp on the road?
Yeah.
Where are we? What if I knock on someone's door and just ask them?
Excuse me, ma'am, do you have a book? Oh, don't park there though.
Oh yeah, on the road.
Anytime, no
or
parking
here.
anytime on that one. That's an aggressive sign.
Is this camping too?
Yeah.
Rob, I don't think this is a good sign.
What is it?
Wrong way.
Oh.
According to the Free Little Library app, there is a Free Little Library just down the road. And so I brought some books with me to donate, so I'm not stealing and not replacing them. Sorry, this is probably making some of you really nauseous. I feel like we're getting closer. There was no photo in the listing and the address might have been wrong, but we have hope. Do we have hope?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I wish I brought an umbrella. I think I see it. I've lost Rob. He's going back to get the vehicle because we're parked really far away and we're kind of on a time crunch. We have to go pick up Liam from work at some point, but I see it. There's a little red box somewhere. Oh, you see it? Do you see it? Do you see it? Okay, let's see what we have in here. This looks pretty new. Recipe for a perfect wife. What the heck is that? This is your brain on music. That sounds interesting. Instructions for the drowning? What the heck is that? Oh, this is the first book in the series. I've actually read that first one. Danger Boy. Wait, this is on my TBR. Okay, and then that one, Sandra Brown, Robert Harris, The Ghost, Erasing Memory. Some of these are brand new. I'm gonna grab this. This is a crazy find. I forgot to put my books in. Oh my gosh. I brought a couple YA with me, which works out really well because we are at a playground. And this, I had out from the library. I just returned it to the library because it was overdue and I didn't get to it before I had to return it. And they have the paperback one, which I kind of prefer the cover. So what the heck? I am at the final 100 pages of The View is Exhausting. This book has been a little bit exhausting for the last 100 or so pages, and I wish I had updated you early on in the book because the first 50 to 100 pages, I was hooked. I was so interested. This has to do with fake dating, so we can check that off my little bingo board. It's one of my favorite things. This book was definitely a little intimidating because it has to do with fame, but I've been more welcoming that into my literary life, and so I thought it would be interesting to give it a try. And because because it has fake dating, but it's not like a, you know, lighthearted, goofy type romance with the, you know, illustrated cover, and it's about falling for someone who happens to be famous, but oh, he loves me. No, the vibes are much more intense than that. And I would have figured like Emily Henry and Taylor Jenkins Reid's audiences would have gotten on this by now because it's kind of similar to their vibes. Also in that, I'm probably going to give it 3 stars, which is what I tend to give those authors. And they blurbed it and they've promoted this book, and it's from Authors of Color, and it's about a woman of color. She is Indian British and she's trying to make it in Hollywood, and she does. She's really successful. She is getting all the opportunities that she has been pushing for so long, but she has to keep this like perfect persona. And she ends up fake dating this rich like celebrity type guy who's not necessarily famous for the same thing as her, but they can both benefit each other's lives and careers by pretending to date. And it goes on for quite a while of their lives, and it's a little bit of a messy dynamic. They come together, they fall apart, they date other people, they always are kind of pulled toward each other. It doesn't feel like a romance, but it definitely feels like a love story. And he is constantly pushing Wit to like stand up for herself and call out the racist, you know, press and paparazzi situations that are happening. And she believes she has to be really perfect in these scenarios and can't make any waves or do anything that is not seen as flawless by the public. So there's a lot of attention on her, and there's a lot of pressure that she feels. And this relationship is really good for her, but also pushes her outside of her own comfort zone. And I think it's an interesting story to follow, but it's gotten, like, it's really dragged for quite a while. Like, there's no real urgency with the plot, and I feel like the book didn't want to get too extreme and dramatic. So it's just kind of a level, even tone that's not doing a lot for me, but I really like the writing. I read from these authors recently, and I like them more in a horror realm, but there's also romance in here. So I like what these authors are doing. I'm going to keep reading from them, but I feel like this one's going to be a 3. Okay, this won me over in the end, and I liked it more than I was, but I just can't give it more than like a 3.5, 3.75. I hate when authors don't realize what incredible love interests they've created and they just don't utilize them fully. Because I've been reading so many romance books, and romantasy especially, where the love interest is just like this cardboard cutout, but because he or she is so obsessed with the main character, like, we're just supposed to, you know, love and adore them. Meanwhile, we get Leo. I love Leo. He was such a well-realized character, and he had such a dynamic personality. His banter was perfect. And then, like, there just wasn't enough angst and yearning between them, and there could have been. I'm so frustrated about it. He just kind of got a little pathetic. And the ending really worked for me. I just sadly wish that this wasn't about what it was about. There was so much like important stuff that they wanted to talk about in here, which I obviously respect. Her navigating her identities and fame. Unfortunately, like, I, as usual, just didn't really care about that portion as much as I wanted to, and I wanted more of them. I liked her figuring out her friendships and family stuff. Like, this book was well paced and well plotted. Just the things that were so good, I didn't get enough of, and then there was too much of other stuff. If you are a primarily audiobook listener, not this one. The mouth noises were unbearable for me, and that's why, even for myself, I hate using mics. And I mean, I used a shitty headphone mic for a portion of this video, and it takes me a lot to want to do that because I feel like you can hear my mouth. And I know I really should invest in some like proper Rode microphones, and maybe now I know that syncing up everything isn't as annoying as I thought, maybe I will go ahead and do that. But that's that. Round 3, let's begin. Okay, we are in a neighborhood. There's a blur in my camera. Okay, this view is across the lake. So we're in like the Kelowna Mission. We really could be in Upper Mission or Lower Mission. It looks like we're pretty high up, so first instinct is Upper Mission. But let's go down the street a little bit and see what we can see. Oh, okay. That store, I've taken you before too. Oh my gosh. So this is Vintage Terrace Drive. Let's go back to the beginning. Vintage Terrace meets Vintage Terrace. Right on this corner. Yeah, perfect score, 5,000 points. There are some cute little coffee shops and bakeries around here, and surely that little grocery store that I used to go to and get candy all the time is gonna have some type of books. Okay, there, is that a deer? Okay, there's nowhere for me to park right here at Vintage Terrace, but I am on Vintage Terrace. I just need to find a place to park. Hello. Oh my God, how beautiful. Is that a free little library? No fucking way. Wait, what is that? Oh my God, there's so many of them. Look how cute. The deer led me to a free little library. I was fully prepared to walk down the hill and go to the store. I just passed it on my way here and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to park up here somewhere and walk down the hill. But I was already regretting it because I somehow got here exactly at lunchtime for the high school, and that little market and restaurant area is packed with high school students. I remember going here when I was in high school and you'd have to stand outside and wait for your turn. Like they would only let like 5 students in at a time. So I was already not looking forward to doing that. But then I ran into a free little library. And it looks kind of stocked, like a mix of age ranges and everything. Let's go over and see. I do have a couple books that I can donate to a free little library. These are a couple thrillers that I've been keeping in here in case I found a free little library. My books were a little bit too tall. We've got The Meeting Room. That sounds gross. Layover. A Tana French that I used to have. Hostage. Oh my. Plus we've got Music. That's an aggressive title. I could definitely read this. Okay, let me look into what these 3 are. Okay, these 3 all look like they've never been read. I don't know. I'm gonna choose the shortest one. Look how cute this thing is though. Oh, you can see me more than it. And I'm technically on Vintage Terrace Road still. The road that I got dropped on has a free little library on the actual road. Like how lucky is that? This is Headshot by Rita Bullwinkle. I feel like I've heard of it before. It's a boxing competition. There are 8 teenage girl boxers. They've all sacrificed something to come to Reno, Nevada to compete to be named the best in the country. I'm just glad there was a variety in there and I didn't just have to pick from like 20-year-old detective mystery novels, because that is what takes up a lot of little free libraries. Hi, so I'm obsessed with this book. I'm actually mad at myself for how late in the day I started it because I now have to go do a bunch of things and I'd rather be finishing my book. Well, that's not true. I'm picking up Liam from school and I have to go to the hockey arena and then I get to go out for dinner with some girlfriends, which I'm really excited to do. And I don't wish I was reading instead of that, but I do wish I was reading instead of like right now going to the school and driving the half hour to dinner. So I might just grab the audiobook to continue consuming this because, oh, I am so into it. I found a bookmark, I don't know where I put it, at like 30 pages in, and I'm convinced the person stopped here because this really is hard to explain. It's not really about like the plot of the book. Like, yes, these girls are all competing and they've come to this one area to do so. It's the background of all of these girls, but even then it's not a character-focused narrative where you feel really close to all of them because you're switching between so many different girls in just 200 pages. At the beginning, there's whatever you call this, a ranking board, a seating tournament, and I just read the second fight. And now I'm moving on to the next one. And it's not unlike reading like an Enneagram book. Hear me out. Imagine you picked up an Enneagram book, but there is a specific person who they're talking about at each point. So it's like, this is Enneagram number 9. This is what this person is like and the types of jobs that they should have. And like, here's an example of an Enneagram and here's how you might connect to this person. This is a fight between Rachel and Kate. And you got like a little bit of their childhood and why they care so much about boxing. And you also not just get an idea of the jobs that they might have, but you literally see them. Like the narrator is talking as if we know them, and it's like this fight would go to be this in this person's life, and she would go on to be a wedding planner, and here's why everything that she cares about and all of her passion towards fighting led her to this perfect career, and here's why it's perfect for her, and here's how she prepares for the fight versus the other girl. It talks about like her body type and her family dynamics, and like this is how she sees the world, and here's why she cares about this thing, and here's the kind of person that she is, and it's just so interesting. And I think this could not just apply to people in sports, but do you ever have have the feeling of like building something up in your mind that's like, this is going to be an important event. Like I'm participating in this thing and this could change the trajectory of my career or my relationship or my future in sports. And it's like, as soon as she realizes that she isn't going to win, she doesn't try so hard, but also she just doesn't care anymore. She's like, this isn't that moment, and I'm gonna have that moment that really changes my life. This obviously isn't it, because the first half of the fight didn't go in my favor. And it's not like giving up in a bad way. It's giving up and being like, this isn't the moment, and like, that's fine, and let's move on. And I just like how all these girls have such different insights into like what they're doing. I have to go now. I'm halfway through. I'm pissed. I have to pause, but I do think I'll grab the audiobook. And hey, my shirt kind of matches. No, yeah, it does match the cover. Who knew a silly Geoguessr video and a silly book in a free little library would lead me to one of my favorite books of the year? This is the kind of book I would love to have a book club discussion for, talking about every little piece of this, every character backstory and the metaphors. I think if you don't participate or you don't know anybody who participates in competitive sports, your view of sports might be like arenas or like there's just so many people there, and there's stands and there's stuff with people and there's cheering, and it's just like when so many people get together, like that's a big sporting event. But the majority of sporting events, and even moments that will change the trajectory of an athlete's entire career, happen in practically empty arenas and fields where there's very little fanfare. And in here they talk about the fact that if somebody started cheering, it would be embarrassing. Like, you can't be too loud because there's a very small group of people watching this very small group of people participate in their sport. They're so little people that you can hear the girls like breathing and grunting. And I just love that there's no dialogue in here, and there's just these very short little moments talking about, like I said, where the girls came from and what their lives are like later. And there's plenty in here that's not about boxing, but it's moments that relate to boxing in some way in the girls' lives, or even the people in the periphery, like family members of theirs. And I just love books that are so hyper focused on somebody's passion, even though they're gonna go nowhere necessarily with it. Like, this isn't about the greatest boxers in the world and their life journey. It's about these girls who have this hobby and they're in a place where they can compete, and in the future they think back on these years as really horrible or really amazing. And it's about how it formed them as people. Oh my god, I love this book. And there was even a line that specifically talked about the obsession of boxing and how it's the only thing that she could think about, one of the characters. So I'm going to check this off for obsession, because I love books about obsessions, but also obviously work for contests and competitions if I didn't already have that checked off. And it also definitely would have worked for books with lists and countdowns, because that one is about organization and this one being specifically event by event. Yeah, that was just a fantastic time. 5 stars all around. Would recommend, but as usual, when I love a book with this much passion, to a very specific audience. It doesn't have the highest average rating, but it's not super low, and I'm interested to see what else this author writes. Let's play round number 4. We've gotten 3 locations pretty far apart from each other, so I'm feeling good about this map. Okay, I feel like we are in the middle of nowhere. Captain Dank. No, I can't tell you. I've heard of him before. This feels like it's gotta be pretty northern, somewhere between Vernon and Enderby for sure. In fact, there's this place down West Side Road, like near O'Keefe Ranch. I feel like this might be the road. I've driven this road quite a few times. I've never seen this place. Weed, chocolate, nicotine, everything you need. Okay, if I turn around, what do we have? The sign, Lake Okanagan Resort. I feel like that does not exist anymore. It's so funny. I'm literally taking Liam to Friday night, I can't remember what it's called, the Screams at like the Pumpkin Patch Corn Maze in just a couple days. So let's send it here. Okay, we almost got a perfect score. I guess I'll see you at Captain Dank's. What's up, Dankers? I'm here at Captain Dank's, Queen of the Danks. I can say with confidence, there are no books around here. If you look down the street, there are no books. If you look the other direction there are no books. I'm not going to go into Captain Dank's to try to find books. So we'll just drive and see what happens. I'm pretty sure the first thing we're going to see is this complex in Vernon where there's like all of these stores. There's a bunch of food stores. And then I think the first place we're going to end up seeing is Value Village. Walmart, Best Buy, Value Village, Tim Hortons, Reitman's, Mark's, Suzanne's, and Domino's. You want to go to McDonald's? There could be a book in like the ball pit. Do you think I'm gonna find an incredible book in here?
I mean, odds are pretty good.
The book section at this Value Village is really small.
Oh, is it?
Compared to Penticton or Kelowna or West Kelowna. Wish me luck.
See Ruth Ware.
I've read all of them. Actually, my mom just bought this one from the library book sale.
Oh, really? Well, that's weird. That's what I was just looking at.
This was on my TBR at home. I feel like I should just pick this and then go read the one I already own. But that wouldn't be in line with the challenge.
Oh, here we go.
Thank you. Voiceover, Kayla. Apparently my mic cut out. I'm not sure why. Maybe because I was fiddling with the microphone too much. We were browsing for a while. I really did not see anything I was interested in. And then I found What Strange Paradise by Omar Al-Akkad. In fact, there were like 3 different copies of this in the store. Then we headed over to HomeSense because I realized after I went to Value Village, maybe they had books, and technically was HomeSense a little bit closer. Here's a little haul we filmed afterwards. It also didn't have sound, where I got a little marble ghost and Rob got Liam a ghost blanket. But I do have 1 or 2 clips from inside the store. They're really just chaos, and also ignore these because I'm not gonna end up reading anything here. What are you picking?
Oh my God, Rachel Price 2 months ago walked away from the perfect man, sweet, funny, and so sexy. He should be illegal. But we shared one magical night. No names, no strings. I never thought I'd see him again. I was wrong. As it turns out, Mr. Perfect is the Playboy grinder from the Jacksonville Rays, the NHL's hottest new hockey team. Animal Farm? Like, come on.
I literally own that exact edition already.
It's so cute. Oh, this is what I want you to read.
Just because it matches your sweater?
Dun, dun.
Okay, you've never even read that.
I've watched it so many times, though.
Oh my.
To me.
So What Strange Paradise is about a ship full of people. They are fleeing their respective countries and they're all on a boat together in the Mediterranean Sea. I just realized like I haven't really looked closely at the cover. I'm imagining like I guess that's the size of boat that they're on. I still have the sticker on here. What happened to Value Village prices being like $3.99, $4.99 max? One of the people on the ship is a young boy named Amir, and the ship the people on the ship don't make it. It's this really horrifying situation. He is the only person who actually makes it to land, and he ends up on this Mediterranean island, and there's a young girl he comes into contact with who is protecting him and who is hiding him from the authorities. They do not share a language, they don't share a background, but she feels protective over him, and the entire location that they're at has a certain view, the people tend to, of refugees and immigrants. And there are a lot of people vacationing there, and it's like this big deal. They have to shut down the beach in order to deal with this boat situation. Like the deaths of people are negatively impacting tourism. And so the island has anger towards the situation when these people are just trying to find a better life. And we flash back multiple times. Like the book goes back and forth between like current day and before. And we get the time on the boat, and not just from Amir's perspective, but other people on the boat and different dialogue between people. We get an idea of how Amir ended up there and why. So it's flipping really regularly to before and after. I think this is so incredibly well written, which is not surprising after reading Omar Al-Akkad's nonfiction. I highlighted a specific part that said she had seen so many over the last year, alone, malnourished, orphaned by war or by sea, made into the undercurrents of themselves, broken in ways that rendered them unable to continue as children, and yet a part of them left childlike forever. In such a succinct way, that is the effects of trauma. A loss of innocence, but an inability to continue on because you've been so deeply affected by something so horrific. This book is sad, and it's really like beautiful at the same time because you're watching these connections. And I just don't know at this point, like halfway through, if it's gonna get more devastating or more hope-filled, or like what we're gonna do with the second half of this, but I'm really enjoying it so far. For a second, like halfway through the book, I was wondering if it was doing something, if it was going to go in a certain direction, and then it did, and I was still surprised by it. Much like we get different perspectives from people in the book and their thoughts on human beings seeking asylum, we almost get different interpretations of even what that looks like, depending on who you are. How especially Westerners who don't believe in human rights, who believe they do, but in practice absolutely do not, how they think a refugee story looks, who they think deserves to find paradise, who it belongs to, what different people are entitled to in their opinion based on where they were born and what they look like and who they pray to, etc. We follow not just the boy and girl, and then not just people who are on the boat. We also follow the perspective of a man who is trying to track this boy down. That is his sole purpose, and it's as difficult being from his perspective as anyone else's in the book. There is just as much opinion in this book as this book. They would make a great pairing to read together. I read them both this year, gave them both 5 stars. Back to back 5 stars in this vlog. Pretty incredible. It was pretty to the point. It used clear language. I would call it heavy-handed. I could see people calling it that. And I think that in this day and age, that is a necessary thing for many books to do, and it did it well. Our final location. Let's begin round number 5. Okay. Perfect comparison between like the greenery in the other spot and the dryness here. This could only be down south because this is technically a desert. Is it Canada's only like technical desert? You'll see all of the like cacti and brush on the side of the road. We might be pretty near Spotted Lake actually. That would be crazy. Like one of the most iconic locations in the Okanagan. If I just got dropped here and I get to take you there, it should just be a couple clicks up the road if I'm thinking of the right place. And there it is, just to the left is Spotted Lake. I don't know how close by a book is possibly going to be to this location, but let's send our guess in. Pretty good points there. Okay, I will see you for our final location at Spotted Lake. We made it to Spotted Lake. Show them the sign. My cameraman is getting wet in the rain. The lake is full of, what was it? Magnesium?
Magnesium, calcium, and sodium.
So when all of the water evaporates in the summertime, it like makes different colors and shapes of the spots. Right now, apparently it's frozen, but we are in the middle of nowhere. So if you want to show them around, we're not going to find any books, but this is where I was on Geoguessr, and now we're going to head into Soyuz. We're going down the road, and I don't think we're going to see anything. As soon as we hit the city, we'll get out, and then we'll just start walking down the street.
We are on, is this Main Street?
We're at Manny's Pizza. I don't think they'll have a book. I'm looking hard. Health supplies, glasses, clothes. I really like that lamp. Look how cute. Oh my god. Tiles, locksmith. Where'd you go? You just make me look like I'm talking to myself, which I am, but like, the people don't have to know that.
Hey, I see sign.
Books and art. All staff are volunteers. Look how pretty these are.
These are really cool. Where are they?
The Franklin Library.
There's a hockey one up there. And golf.
I'm pretty sure this one was in the Goodreads Choice Awards, like just last year. Oh yeah, 2024. It's about the history of American bookstores.
That's cool.
That's kind of fun to buy in a bookstore. Okay, I think there's one other kind of bookstore in Soyuz called the Happy Paper Parlor, but it seems to be closed. So instead, we got ice cream. And there's nowhere to sit that's dry.
There's a comic book store right there too.
Oh, is it open?
No.
Oh, darn. You'd think coming on a Saturday, things would be open.
Yeah.
Now open Saturday, 10 to 4. Doesn't look like it, my friends.
Closed today, open tomorrow instead.
Oh. I am halfway through the bookshop. I kind of wish that this was a little bit of a memoir, only because then I could check it off for like the informative memoir thing that I have on my bingo board. But this is not about Evan Friss's life whatsoever. There was a couple mentions like of his partner and like a little mention of bookstores that he frequented, a little moment being a bookseller, but like nothing more than maybe a paragraph. So it is a true history. It's not a mix of like his experience with bookstores. It is exploring all of the bookstores in the States. And though I'm not from the States, I do think it was fitting that I picked this up in the city that is the closest to the United States. Do I wish I was reading about bookstore history in Canada more so than this? Maybe, because that's something that interests me, but I am learning a lot of backstory that like I never thought that I was interested in. We get some little references to historical figures or literary figures, like the bookshop that Louisa May Alcott frequented. We got information on the Frank Lloyd Wright bookstore. There are some pictures in here, and each chapter is organized by focusing on a different place, like the Gotham Book Mart, the Aryan bookstore that I just read about, and a history of the bookstore each time and like its place in history, but also the impact that it had, good and bad. The way that certain books were used as propaganda. There was a bookstore that shelved a bunch of things that helped further discrimination. Books that helped mask slavery's brutality is how it was phrased in here. There was a history of when books started being shipped, like when the mail company started accepting books and how that evolved. This is obviously a pretty recent publication, which is great because it also covers what happened during COVID and the history of like the Strand bookstore and how they were seeking help during COVID and like where the money actually went and like if they could have supported themselves during that time. It's definitely well researched. I like it. It's not doing anything like impressive. Like sometimes a nonfiction will do something really interesting with the writing style or just something that blows things out of the water. This feels like a really solid 4-star read. I finished it. It definitely got more interesting as the book went on. There were some things I learned, like how gay pride started in the States and how the specific bookstore was very involved in that. I learned all about sidewalk book selling in New York, how there became greater and greater restrictions on people like open air selling. We got the origins of Barnes & Noble, which I didn't know anything about. I didn't realize how many there were and how much it took over like every small town. And then there was a very large section about Amazon and how it became what it was. Or what it is today. And I like that we didn't end there because it could have ended with Amazon, but instead we like flipped over to an indie bookstore, the one owned by Ann Patchett. And I think that was a nice way to end it with kind of a hope-filled, like here's somebody running a business who's really passionate about it. Here's how she's succeeding against Amazon. And it wasn't necessarily a think piece. Like he didn't put any real opinions in here. It was just facts, like how Amazon became what it is and like how they don't profit off of books and how they made that decision in order to just become a huge successful marketplace and push all the other bookstores out of business. But it wasn't even quite described with that level of criticism. Like you could feel the criticism in the background, but it was more just fact-based. This could have been definitely a more trivia kind of book where you flip it open and it's like, did you know this store opened in this year? Like we didn't really need the paragraphs because the paragraphs aren't his own opinion. nor are they, I don't know, his experience like learning about the bookstores themselves. It's just facts. It's just paragraphs and paragraphs of facts, which was definitely accessible. I don't think he used any type of language that wouldn't be easily readable by the general public. Gave it a 4, and the video is done. I went to all the 5 places that Geoguessr sent me in my own little area. Obviously, I wasn't, you know, taking flights across the world. Imagine I just opened the world map and Geoguessr sends me to like Japan, and then the next day I'm going to Ireland. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I read 5 books. I had some great wins, which I desperately needed, and I will see you in another video soon. Bye!